Good morning, Saturday morning. I am outside today. I'm so excited. It's actually somewhat quiet. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that that remains the case. Of course, now there's a motorcycle going by. Figures, right? Um, it's literally like the most glorious day today. And I'm so sorry. I keep talking about how beautiful the weather is for those of you who live in places where it's rainy or kind of cold. I'm sorry. But it really is gorgeous here today. Yesterday I talked about, really planting that seed for your future and, taking that leap. And I mentioned that I might talk today about taking that leap. And that made me think of this book called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. As you can see, it's pretty well worn. I've got so many things highlighted, or not highlighted, but underlined, notes and margins. Like if anyone were to see my book, they'd be like, well, why didn't you just like underline the whole thing? There's so much here that you have addressed as like important. And I sat down this morning and I was just kind of centering and getting clear on what I wanted to say and share today. And there were so many things. Like I wasn't sure exactly where to focus because this book, I've forgotten how powerful this book is and how important it was for me when I was kind of in the midst of making decisions about my life, and how it really did affect how I approach things. One of the biggest takeaways from the book, and this is particularly relevant if you're having relationship challenges right now, is taking responsibility. And what I mean by that is by taking 100% of the responsibility in the relationship. So, we oftentimes think, okay, in a relationship, it's 50-50. Well, not really. You are 100% responsible for you, and they are 100% responsible for them. So when I first heard this concept, I had a story that I was telling myself about my relationship, and that did not fit in with the story I was telling myself about it. And I was absolutely refusing to buy that, and felt that, yes, we could share the responsibility, but it was more like 60-70% his fault and like 30-40% mine. Okay. What good does that do? None. It doesn't do any good. All it does is get locked into story. And, likely if I would have asked him that question, he would have said probably the reverse of me, that it would be more, it'd be more 30-40% him and more 60-70% me. In the grand scheme, does it really effing matter? No. The bottom line is you're in a relationship that's not fulfilling. You're in a relationship that is no longer joyful. You're in a relationship that is not working for whatever reason. And you have likely tried to make it work. You've done everything you know how to do to, create a relationship that is nurturing and loving and supportive, on both parts. What I found about the 100% responsibility piece is it takes the blame game out of the equation. It's really about you. Okay, if I'm 100% responsible for me, and he or she is 100% responsible for themselves, then any moment in time where I'm not feeling happy, or I'm not feeling at peace, or I'm not feeling a sense of calm within myself, it's not the other person's fault. Because he got angry with me over something small, because she didn't do something I wanted her to do, does not make it their fault. Anytime we get triggered by someone, anytime we get that feeling of like, ugh, we get angry, we get sad, we feel like we've been gut punched, that's a wound within us that person just poked at. It's not really about them. And I may have mentioned this before. There's a line in the Course in Miracles, and I'm not quoting it, it's just kind of the basic gist is, you're never really angry at or about what you think you are. And I remember my mentor said that to me a few years ago when I was really in the midst of relationship struggle. And I was like, that's bullshit. I know exactly why I'm upset. He did fill in the blank. And he's, and my mentor kept asking me questions, we kept digging in further, and we kept looking at it, and I really had such a hard time seeing what he was saying. And after some time of reflection and journaling and meditation and talking and working on myself, I began to understand it. I began to see what he meant. And it's really about, I have a choice. You have a choice. We all have a choice in how we respond to things, how we perceive things, how we receive things. And so if someone upsets us, it's not really about them. It's about us. It's about this wound within us, something within us that needs attention. And the fact that it's being highlighted by someone in our life and that we're feeling it in this big way is just showing us, hey, dig in a little deeper. What is that really about? Where does that really, really come from? And in doing that, you're able to then see the situation from a neutral perspective, from a higher vantage point. You're no longer pointing fingers at someone else. You're going within. And that's where it starts, is within yourself. When you find that sense of peace within you, that inner knowing that I've been talking about in past videos, that sense of, I know, and I know that this is going to be hard, but I'm doing it anyway, because if I don't, I'm not going to be able to be myself. I'm not going to be able to live the life that I desire. It's not honoring me. It's not honoring him or her. I recorded a podcast recently, and I'll be sharing more about that next week. But, we were talking about, relationships ending, about disentanglements, as I'd like to call it, the D word, and how sometimes leaving is loving. That's the most loving thing that you can do. And sometimes people feel like it's selfish, especially if there's kids involved, especially if you do really truly love your partner, but you just know it's no longer working together, and you would like an opportunity to do it differently, and you love that person enough to allow them the opportunity to do it differently, and know that it's the best thing for both of you, and that you may end up having the most beautiful, loving relationship separately than you ever did together. And there's a sense of peace in that, and joy in that. And that comes back to that place of being 100% responsible for you, and not looking to anyone else to fill in the percentage you feel isn't there, because it's not their job, it's not their responsibility. It actually feels like a burden, and I would venture to say puts more of a strain on the relationship than anything else. It's great to be loved. It's great to be wanted. It's great to have someone in your life that enjoys you and likes having you around, of course. But when it boils down to it, to the nitty-gritty of it all, is how do you feel within yourself? Can you have that sense of peace, that sense of calm, that sense of content within you without someone else to fill what you perceive as a void? That's being 100% responsible for you. And I actually had other things I was going to share from this book that I didn't get to today, so obviously that wasn't meant to come through. There is a couple of other little things in here that kind of flow into the Stoic Sunday theme that I've been kind of organically has happened. So I might bring the book back into the fold tomorrow. But for now, I wish you the most gorgeous Saturday wherever you happen to be. And I will see you here tomorrow. Remember, we learn from one another, so please share any comments, any thoughts, and your insights around 100% responsibility. Bye for now.